Hello, good evening. Welcome to our latest Nottingham Forest fan phone-in as we hopefully take your calls on any Reds-related topic in the company of Emily Anderson. Emily, evening, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Managed to have got my slight technical issue out the way, so apologies that we're a little bit late. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good, no problem at all. Good to have you with us. Good to have quite a few people with us. I can see it already, and a few with us in the chat. I'll drop the link in, so if anyone wants to jump in with us as ever, just click on that link. But in the meantime, Emily, how are you feeling? The dust's definitely settled now from the
Mm.
weekend. Have you recovered or not?
Yeah. I mean, straight after the match and during the match on Saturday, I was, like everyone, just shocked at what we were witnessing and felt really down after the match, which I think is normal. But I think, do you know what? Time is a real healer, isn't it? And actually, I've been mulling over it for the past few days, and you don't go from being the brilliant defensive team we are to that. So I see Saturday as a blip, and actually, the rest of the season is what we are. And I think I'm really pleased that we've got a good, decent, competitive home game coming up where we can hopefully get back to winning ways. And defensively be the sound defensive team that we know we can be. I'm slightly apprehensive about the weekend, if I'm honest, just because of what happened. But I'm just trying really hard to be positive because, like you say, you don't suddenly drop off a cliff as a team, do you? I think it was just a collective bad day at the office, and Bournemouth are a brilliant, brilliant team. So we just have to move on, which I'm sure the team will have done. They'll have gone over the game, and hopefully they're busily preparing for Brighton now. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. How about you? Have you
Uh,
got over
yeah, fine. I'm more, yeah.
it? You've talked about it so much, haven't you?
Well,
I felt so sorry for you.
no, that's part of the thing, isn't it? You talk it out as a therapy thing, which is part of what we do, I guess. So, yeah, feeling all right about it. I've done the opposition preview, by the way. I
Oh
did
yeah.
it last night. I'll put it out later in the week, obviously. It's interesting. Brighton struggle from listening to Az, the Brighton correspondent. They struggle against anyone that sits in. That's how they lost to Everton. So I'm hoping it's a good matchup for us in that sense. Should be a good
Let's
one.
hope. Yeah, it feel I don't want to tempt fate, but it feels like a good game for us to have after such a horrible, horrible defeat. It could be so much worse. So let's just hope that confidence wise, maybe first half there might be a bit of nerves, but hopefully we can have one of those boring 1-0s that people sometimes don't like. But I will take a boring 1-0 on Saturday. I don't think my nerves could take any more of the way it was on Saturday. So yeah.
Right, we've got three people waiting to jump in, which is lovely.
Wow.
We'll get into it because I've saying to Emily, I've really got to go at 8:50 today to pick my daughter up. I know Edward's on deck as well, and he's got to go at 8:50 as well. So we'll get into it. Do jump on the link if you want. I'll drop it in again later in the chat. But first, Gary Baldy, the most anonymous fan, but I know you're okay. You've been on before. How are you doing?
Not doing too bad, guys. How are you?
Hi,
Oh man, I
Gary.
love your voice. Sensational, sensational. What do you want to say this evening?
Well, I might have been better off being safe for later because I was thinking of not talking about the match, but my favourite topic of football songs.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
So yeah, I remember last time I was moaning about the Callum Hudson-Odoi one, which it's actually grown on me over time. I've got a new one that I really dislike, and it's Anthony Alanga duh duh duh. I kind of feel like we can do better than that. I noticed first the video that the club put out when Murillo signed his contract, and I noticed he was like singing his song there, and there's been reports of like Danilo driving around town with Spandau Ballet blaring out the window. So I think there's something to be said for having a good song for each player. And yes, I thought, well, Anthony Alanga, a better one might be the Steve Miller Band Abracadabra.
How's that one go? I don't know how that
It,
goes.
it's,
No, I
it's
don't.
so the Anthony Alanga version would probably go. Sorry, I'm not a singer, but Anthony Alanga, they'll try to reach out and grab you.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Alanga, abracadabra.
Yeah, that's great.
So
I like that.
and then to stick with the do aspect of singing, I did think of one for Anderson, which could be "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. But
Yeah.
he's Anderson, da 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 da. He's Anderson, and I say he's all right. Da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da, da, da,
that's a
da.
good one as well. Yeah,
I like
great.
this because this is pretty different to the content that we normally provide. So you don't know where these fan phone-ins are going to go. So no, that's cool. There's loads of people waiting. Is there anything else you want to add, music-wise, football-wise, anything else before we let you go?
No, well, only that I think Milenkovic definitely deserves a song, but that's going to take some more thinking on how to rhyme Milenkovic. But yeah, he's definitely deserving one.
Excellent, excellent, lovely contribution. Wasn't expecting that at all. Emily, anything you want to say on songs? You're a chanter, aren't you? You're a singer.
I am a chanter, and I think don't worry about not being able to sing, Gary, because I don't think any of us can at the City Ground, can we? It doesn't stop us from singing loudly and proudly. And I love a good player song. My favourite one is the one from Morgan Gibbs White by the Belinda Carlisle one. So I think that's a fantastic one. But they're all great, aren't they? But you're right, the Anthony Lang one's a bit too generic. We need something a bit more specific, don't we? But yeah, I love a good sing song, and hopefully you're all going to be singing loud and proud on Saturday lunchtime to cheer on the mighty Reds. But yeah, love a good song.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
Fingers crossed.
Brilliant. Right, we'll let you go. We've got lots of people, 5 people waiting, which is great. So, right, lovely to see you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
See you
Thanks,
later.
Gary.
Bye. There we go. Right, you never know what's coming, do you, with these things?
No.
So that was a different start, but a good one. Right, Edward. Good evening. How are you?
How you doing? Hello, Matt. Hello, Emily.
Good to see you. Are you well?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Probably a bit, no more than the rest of us, a bit deflated after Saturday. But these are great times in the history of Nottingham Forest. So one blip hopefully won't derail the season, and hopefully we'll carry on our the last these three set of games, kind of a South Coast exodus for the team at the moment. So we're just finishing the treble against Brighton, hopefully with a victory on Saturday afternoon. I can't see how we wouldn't. I think Brighton seem to be in a little bit of a period of rebalancing themselves with a new manager, and they seem to have invested really young in players. So much so their midfield is incredibly young at the moment. I think Baliba and Ayari, a chap I'd never heard of before, actually seem to be kind of holding down the two places there. But I just think it's going to be. I think it's a good game for us to get back at home, because I think we're playing a team that isn't in form. Their form is quite sketchy over the last few months, and I don't think they have that kind of certainty of style they did under Potter or even De Zerbi. I still think Hertzler is kind of one of these kind of project managers. He's one of these kind of young. There was an interesting thing I heard recently about the profile of managers has changed. Your traditional player retires, player becomes manager, or does their apprenticeship in the lower leagues and comes up. That seems to be gone. Now you have people who just train to be managers. They go around and they coach, and they eventually build up their profile that way. But they were never serious professional players. So it's interesting to see that we may be able to take advantage of that on Saturday.
Belieber's really good, actually. I think he's the next
Yes.
one for a move. Let me ask you about. I'm just playing into Irish stereotypes here, but Evan Ferguson's on the move. You'll have seen a lot of him. We're looking. I don't know if desperate's not the right word for a striker, but I think we all agree we need one. Are you enamoured with that one or not?
I would be, for patriotic reasons. It'd be great to have Evan Ferguson. Another reason I think he'd be good is because he's proven in the Premier League, number one. So there's no that acclimatization or that adjustment needed. Another thing too is he's not doesn't have any trouble with being a striker who's rotated or isn't first choice all the time, because he's had to live with Welbeck and Joao Pedro at over his career at Brighton. So he's he doesn't kick up a fuss in relation to it. Like as it stands, if he were to come, he would be somebody who'd have to sit and wait for his chance. Chris Wood. Now, wouldn't shock me if Taiwo went in this window. But the Taiwo at the end of our first season, the beginning of our second season, just isn't there. And whether we'll ever get him back, I don't know. I love him as a player. He seems like a decent guy around the club, but for whatever reason, whether it's injury, whether it's confidence, who knows, he just hasn't been able to get back to the way he was in that brief period kind of that kept us up. And then at the start of the next season, where I'll never forget that goal he scored against Arsenal. Just the pace he had to keep up with Elanga on that break was unbelievable. I thought, wow, this guy is going to be an absolute beast for us. And unfortunately, that never came true. But football's ruthless. If he isn't going to ever look like he's getting back to that level again, then maybe we just have to get rid. But Ferguson is a very good player in relation to holding up the ball, coming deep, link and play. He's very used to all that. Unfortunately, he does have his own injury issues. Unfortunately, if he came in alone, then we'd have to either get rid of Moreno or Ward-Prowse, or whether there are bits and pieces in their loan agreements that prevent us from doing that, I don't know. But on paper, he'd be a good buy. He'd be good he'd fit in with the squad. He wouldn't be a diva. He wouldn't cause disruption. He wouldn't be that. See, you want to get somebody good in January, but you don't in Asprilla in January. That is the benchmark for bad January transfers, is what happened to Newcastle in 95, 96. So you do not want that. So I think he'd be good on that bit. But we're linked with Visser, we're linked with Cunha. I see Jimenez links coming again. I see we're now linked with some young chap from playing in the Serbian league as a centre half, but that seems to be the last couple of days. For me, I'd love to see a player like Jonathan David come in. Plays in the Ligue 1. I think it's for Lens or Lille. I can't remember. Lille, because he scored against Liverpool the other night in the Champions League. Yeah, and he's on a free. He's now free to talk to other clubs. His deal is up in the summer, so I haven't heard us discussing him at all, or it being linked to us at all. But he'd be a wonderful. I think his record is quite good, and I think he'd be a person who would be prepared to come to a club like Forest with our profile. But wait and see. What I love about transfer window time is I'm a bit old school on this. Like, so much of football now is quantified and codified and qualified. The stats for everything. People can plan out patterns and look into the future and kind of put a number on everything. Still, the whole transfer thing. You can have links. You can speculate. You can have a bit of crack. You can have a bit of conversation. There's still that mystery around it. You don't know who's coming until they've signed, sealed, and delivered through the door. So I enjoy that aspect of the game, and that element of summer and this kind of January transfer window is quite interesting. But I do think we need a central defensive midfielder as well. Like, I know the Douglas Luiz stuff is still filtering around. I see there's kind of a bit boosted again today online. So who knows? He'd be a good buy. He was a great player for Villa. He got them into the Champions League. And he was with them when he was with them throughout the whole kind of rise under Unai Emery. So if he was prepared to come and on a loan with an option to buy, I wouldn't say no to him either. Like, he seems to be kind of that ready-made kind of player for that position, because as we've seen against the teams with better midfields, we saw against Bournemouth, Newcastle, to an extent against Liverpool, definitely against Man City and Arsenal, that we can be overrun in there, and we can just be outworked and outskilled. We're not the finished product. As I said elsewhere online, like, we have overachieved immensely this season. Like, our players have really, really excelled. Like, you are talking about very rarely. Like, that's why Bournemouth was such an exception. And maybe they are human. Just the collective kind of their collective kind of puff had gone. The lungs just gave out. The stamina just wasn't there after one effort. I think the Liverpool game took a huge amount out of them, a massive amount of them, physically and psychologically. And Nuno's point about conceding 7 goals in 135 minutes of football, that is crazy when you think about it. When we've been so solid for since the Man City game up to then, and had 5 or 6 clean sheets in a row. So it's just, yeah, they're humans after all. We expect so much of them, but eventually their bodies are going to say, thus far and no more at some occasion. So we just saw that. So hopefully that's happened, and we can get it back on the horse against Brighton.
There's 2 areas of the team there, Emily, to discuss just briefly before we let Edward go and move on. By the way, Archie, I know you're waiting, and you're our youngest caller by some distance, so I'll put you on next, because I don't know what time your bedtime is or anything like that. So get warmed up, Archie. You're coming on soon. 2 areas of the pitch there, Emily: striker and central midfielder.
Yeah.
If you in terms of priorities and how we shape up before Monday night at 11, what would you like to see happen?
I think Edward, I echo a lot of what Edward has been saying. I think that we know what a great servant Taiwo Awoniyi has been for us since we've been in the Premier League, and I think he's on his day, a fantastic striker, but there's no room for sentimentality now, is there? I think we've moved on. I think he's struggled with injury, and unfortunately, he's not that reliable backup to Chris Wood. So for me, a young player like Ferguson would be perfect. And you sort of mentioned, Edward, about his character, and I think whoever we bring in, for me, as well as someone that's up to the level with regards to the Premier League playing style and the way that we play, we need to get the right character in, because we've heard a lot of the players. I heard Morgan Gibbs-White on the BBC the other day saying this is the best dressing room I've ever been in. The team spirit's incredible. You can see they get on. The last thing we need is one fly in the ointment that's going to ruin the whole thing. So for me, a striker is the main aim. As a backup for Chris Wood, ideally someone that's happy to play just the odd 10 minutes at the end of the game that can actually change a game, but equally someone that's got the right attitude to be here at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, in an ideal world, we'd get in a number 6 as well, but you know how difficult it is to find the right player. So I would rather probably keep going with what we've got until the end of the season, and then allow our recruitment team to properly find someone that can possibly fulfill that role. But yeah, if we got a striker in come Monday, I'd be more than happy.
I see Kevin mentions about Ferguson going to West Ham. I think I saw Bayer Leverkusen or something. Bayer Leverkusen seems to be trying to sign a lot of English talent as well. So it will want to monitor, but an interesting one. Any quick final words, Edward, before we let you go?
No, just want to say I'm just thankful I didn't come on after one of the younger fans this time, because they always say never work without us or children. They'll always outshine you. But so I managed to escape that pitfall today.
Well, we shall hear from Archie next. Thank you very much, Edward. Good to have you on as ever, and enjoy your evening.
Not at all. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
No worries. No worries. See you soon. See you soon. Right, Archie, we shall be with you soon. And then we've got 5 other callers waiting as well, which is fantastic. So we'll get to everyone before 11:50. I promise. Just quickly before that, a quick reminder and a word for the Trent navigation. Brighton on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. As everyone knows, from 9 a.m, you can get your breakfast and get warmed up before the match at the Nav. Then Fothers takes over the entertainment, and the game is on TV. So if you don't have a ticket, enjoy it at the Nav, or get back afterwards for the post-match show with the Fun Boy 2. Right, here we go with our next caller. Here he is. Archie, evening. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Now, Archie, how are you after the weekend? Because I doubt you've known such a terrible defeat in your time as a Forest fan. How are you feeling?
Yeah, when we went 3-0 down, I was just stunned. I knew he was going to lose that game, because we've seen teams can come back from it, because Southampton almost came back from 3, but it's because we put our guards down, but with our hopes already down about it, we probably weren't going to win it.
Were you angry at the players for giving up like that, or not? Or do you think it's just one game and we'll be fine next time?
One game, but if it's against Brighton, that's when I will get a bit angry at the players, because then it's just total not trying.
Any other points? Anything else you want to talk about tonight, Archie? Anything you had lined up you wanted to talk about?
The aim for the Premier League, what I would like for us to at least be 5th, as where we are right now. We should.
The worry is, isn't it, that Man City are now steamrollering, aren't they? And they're getting ever closer to us, which slightly worries me. But I know what you mean, Archie. I think if we could seal that 5th Champions League spot, wouldn't that be amazing? But do you know what? After Saturday, it was a real reality check for me, and I thought, if we finish in the European places, that's an incredible season. So I just think we need to not worry too much about Saturday. I'm sure it was a blip. And I think wherever Forest finish now, we're already on 44 points. We are so much better than we've been the last 2 seasons. So keep your chin up. We'll be all right.
Yeah. At least we're not getting relegated.
Well, there you go. You see,
Exactly.
it could be so much worse. You could be a Southampton fan. I mean, things could be a lot worse.
Yeah. I see Man City are buying more players. I think they're buying a fullback from Juventus for like 50 million or something. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
How-
That means hopefully they'll keep their mitts off Aina if they're going for a fullback from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just on the next few games, Archie, before we let you go, we've got Brighton, we've got Fulham, then we've got Newcastle, Arsenal, City. If we get through those games, will you be really confident of the Champions League if we come through those with enough points on the board?
Yeah, if we don't lose, I would like at least 2 wins in them. Then I think we should be Europe at least.
Yeah.
I think we need to be hard to beat, don't we, Archie? We just need to make sure that we've got that defensive setup again. And even if we scrape a few draws, I just think we need to stop leaking goals.
Yeah.
Which of the 2 teams will beat, Archie, out of those games? Which games are you most confident about?
The Brighton game and the Fulham game.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Do you not think we can beat Newcastle or City and Arsenal, or do you think we can, but we're just underdogs?
For Newcastle, we could. It's how good the players are on that day, really, and the City and Arsenal. If they keep on going how they're going now, we're probably not gonna have at least like 1 goal against them would be good, because if we look in all of our Premier League games against City, we've only had 1 goal in all of them. So yeah.
Archie, good analysis, good insight, and a good stat at the end there. So you've done well as ever. Good lad. Very good. Anything you want to do? Do you want to throw your parents under the bus this time in any way after last time or not?
No.
No.
Good
Did you get in
lad.
trouble with your dad last time? Did your dad tell you off or not?
No.
That's all right. Right, Archie, we'll let you go, but you've done brilliant as ever. Well done for coming on. You've been very brave, and you're a good lad. So well done.
Thank you.
No worries.
Lovely
mate.
to meet
No
you,
worries.
Archie.
See you later.
Lovely to meet you too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, what
Oh,
start?
the youth. I know, amazing, right?
Yeah, but clever,
The
well mannered as well.
Exactly, and the future of our club. So no, it's really nice to see, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Right. So talking of the future of our club, Joseph, good evening. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hi,
Good.
Joseph. Nice to talk to you again.
Weekend.
Brilliant. Yeah. Pardon, what did you say?
Good to talk to you again. What do you want to say to this evening, mate?
I wanted to talk about transfers as I'm getting a bit nervous that we're not going to sign anyone now, but no, Marinakis, we should be signing someone. We definitely need a number 9. I think it's important that as a football club going for top 4, we need to be ruthless. I mean, I love Awoniyi. I love him, but I mean, he's been so frustrating this season, especially that I remember against Liverpool in the last minutes, that offside where there was no reason for him to be offside. Ball went over the top. It was miles offside, chased after it. So frustrating. It's like he's lost all confidence and legs. So I think we need a striker, and I think we definitely need a winger. Because I think Jota Silva, as much as I love him, I think personally right now is a 30-minute player at best. I think he's the epitome of Ryan Yates as a winger, in my opinion. Loves annoying the other team, commits a lot of fouls. He's a good runner, but I prefer Ramon Sosa. And I think we definitely need a winger. And one person I've been thinking about was James McAtee from Man City. I think he was good in his loan spells at Sheffield United in a pretty awful team last season. And I think they've proved the academy products they've let go of: Rodgers, Delap, Lavia, obviously Cole Palmer, the list goes on. I think he could be another one with a loan with like a 15-20 million buy clause. Could play as a 10, winger, striker. I think he's perfect, versatile. And I think strikers, a few people I've been looking at. Wissa, obviously. We've been linked with him. I wouldn't mind splashing 35 million on him. It's important we have balance. I think we definitely want to go with one of these Marinakis, what's it called? One of these Marinakis ambitious signings for 40-50 million, but I think we need to have balance. I think maybe investing in the championship market, I think that could be a good move, or investing in the Brazilian market. I think, yeah, so any striker from there or the Brazilian market, I would definitely go for as well.
What about Emily then? Cunha, Visser. I don't know if you saw anything of the Igor Jesus rumor. I don't think he's coming, but
No.
any name that you would particularly like? I mean, I love McAtee that Archie
Yeah.
mentioned, but any names that spring out for you?
Yeah, they're all big names. And McAtee, yeah, on paper he'd be great, wouldn't he? But would Man City want to loan him out to a club that are vying for the same Champions League spot? So highly unlikely they'd let him go. They're all great names, aren't they? My worry is, and I don't think our recruitment team will do this, by the way, but I don't want any panic buying. Obviously, we've got through until the 3rd, haven't we? So there's still a few more days to go. But I think there's a few key signings that we should be making, but I don't want us to panic like we have done in the past. And I genuinely trust the recruitment team. If we could sign a player on the level of a Wissa or a Cunha, that would be a fantastic piece of January business. But yeah, I think it's a phrase that's bowled out. Just trust the process, trust the team, and hopefully we'll get there. Have we lost Joseph?
He's still there, Joseph. I think maybe he's had a call on his phone. He's done a
Oh,
Kelvin
bless
Wilson
him.
and had a call. I'll
Mr.
I'll
Popular.
remove Joseph. I'll remove him. He can come back if he logs
Yeah.
back in, then that's cool. Don't worry, and we'll try and get back to him. Oh, he's just come. Joseph, click on the link again, mate, and I'll add you back in later. James mentions Yilmaz. He'd be a good one, certainly. God, I always saw rumours, not with us, but Paul Pogba talking with Premier League clubs, and that's the kind of one that scares me a little bit more.
No,
certainly,
that's one
I
that's
think.
no. I mean, there's talk of where will Marcus Rashford go, but I don't think any team wants to touch him with a barge pole, do they? Really?
Well, his manager doesn't, does he? He said he put the goalkeeping coach on the pitch.
He's likely to go abroad, but yeah, I mean, it's not that late, I suppose, is it? We've still got a few days left, but I'm sure our recruitment team have got something up their sleeve and they'll surprise us on the final day like they always do. We were just saying, Joseph, that even though there's a few days left, I'm sure there'll be surprises on deadline day for us, even if it's
Sorry,
just a
I cut
few.
out. I don't know what happened there. Complete accident. Sorry.
Oh,
Don't worry.
at all.
I'm
It's live
used to people
broadcasting.
disappearing. Pence disappeared within about 8 seconds of yesterday's show, so no, it's fine. Anything you wanted to add, Joseph, before we let you go?
Yeah, I think about the Brighton game, I think we should mix it up a bit. I think I would want to go for a 3-4-2-1. Personally,
Okay.
having Elanga and Gibbs White as your sort of wide tens, almost. It could and then having your midfielders as Dominguez and Anderson, obviously your fullbacks, your backfields. I think that could work. I think having that solidity with the back three, and then I think one thing Williams and Aina are very good at bombing forward and then scrambling back in defence. I think Aina, especially, he is rapid. When he outpaced Kyle Walker last season, that was brilliant. Then he gave the ball away, but I think that could work. And having 2 10s who can either push wide or stay central, I think that worked perfectly. And obviously Wood up top. I think that's how I would line up. I think Nuno. One thing I've been seeing is Nuno needs a plan B. Obviously, the default plan B is go to a 3-4-3. But I mean, we saw that when he put Morata on too late. I think at Bournemouth, we 2-0 down. 3-0 down. I just think we need a real mix-up where we can proper have Anderson, Gibbs White, Elanga, Wood, Aina all attacking at the same time. I think we definitely need an attacking plan B. And I think with that, I think mixing up and learning from our mistakes, I think hopefully we could win the Brighton game with that.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Right, I see the clock is ticking. We've got 15 minutes and we've got 4 people waiting. Liam's one of them. I don't know if your mic is permanently muted, Liam, but if you're able to unmute it, that'd be good. And if you can turn your camera on, I prefer that because it doesn't scare me as much. I made an exception for Gary at the start, whatever his real name is, but it's better if people have got their cameras on. Joseph, thank you very good, mate. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. See you. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
you soon. Cheers. Bye. Right, we'll get straight into the next caller. Lee, where are you in the country, Lee? Good evening. Where are
just
you?
north of Barnsley tonight. Evening, pair of you. Just north of
North.
Barnsley.
Up north.
Yeah, just north. Yeah, on my way to York in the morning. Yeah, welcome to Hotel
Lovely.
Mercedes again.
York's lovely. Yeah, very good. What do you want to say this evening?
I'm over the weekend now. I've got over it. It
Good
hurt at
lad.
the weekend. But it was quite nice actually because there was a few Derby fans trying to give me a bit of grief, but I just reminded them that they were in a relegation zone, so they're quiet. Joseph just steals my thunder yet again. He does it all the time. The lad's so good. He's so clever. Yeah, McAtee. go and get McAtee, definitely. I think he's a bit of class. But what I thought we needed at the weekend was a disruptor. That number 6 just sits in front and he mops up and he can see the dangers coming. I think, I don't know whether it'd be true, but I think if we'd have played 3 at the back, Murillo can do that. He can step out and he can do that job. And then you've got the safety behind you of Morata and Milenkovic. If he's not going to do that, Douglas Luiz, I think he's the kind of player that we could attract, and he'll do that job, and he'll be a disruptor. He'll just win the ball, and that's what we need, winning the ball. And then obviously, same old story. We need that number 9. We need a backup to Wood because Tyro, unfortunately, just isn't there. But I wouldn't get rid of Tyro. I'd keep him. I'd like to go to the remainder of the season with 3 strikers because you just never know what's round the corner. You lose Wood, then you might get the new striker get injured, and then we are up the creek. So for me, I'd keep the 3. I'd definitely a striker. We need a striker badly to support Wood.
Lee, my only worry with keeping Taiwo is he's not going to get the minutes, and what he needs is minutes. So, to put the ball in his court, he needs a loan. He needs game time, even if it's at a slightly lower level. And I think then his confidence will be built back up. Because for me, as well as being a player that's really struggled with injury, he seems like he's at such a low ebb confidence-wise at the moment. But we know he's a striker. We know he can score goals. We look at what he did for us in the first 2 seasons. So I get what you mean, that we need 3 just in case Chris Wood gets injured or in case maybe the one we buy doesn't work. But I just feel like he's not going to get better until he gets proper game time. And I don't know how we give him that without throwing him into the lion's den. And, we wouldn't do this, but say, for example, starting him on Saturday against Brighton, which obviously isn't going to happen. That's my only worry for Taiwo, I think. So, yeah.
He probably needs to go to a club like, he probably needs to go to a club like Southampton or something, but they're not going to sign loan players because they know they're down. They want to stick with their own players. But yeah, he needs a loan. It's so hard. No one seems interested in taking him, which is a bit of a worry, certainly on Taiwo. Sorry, Lee, what were you going to say there before I cut you off?
No, you're right, Emily. You bang on with that. I thought he might have turned a corner when he scored that goal. I honestly thought we might, because he seemed to have a bit more zip in him. He seemed to be a bit more lively, but then he's taken a step back again, and he looks sluggish. He looks laboured, not like the Tyro that he was when in his pomp. You're right, though, he does need game time, but I'm just scared that if we go into the latter parts of the season, especially with the position that we're in now, if we can keep that going and we lose a couple of strikers, then you could see that fall off. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, any European football for me at this season, it's just like it's been in Disneyland, isn't it? We've just
I mean, you look at, if I showed you the league table tonight, Lee, if I showed you that league table back in August, you'd think I was winding you up, wouldn't you? If I said, we lost 5-0, we lost 5-0 to Bournemouth at the weekend, but don't worry, because we're still in 3rd. You'd gone, what? You'd gone, hang on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's dreamland for us Forest fans. I mean, I'm surrounded by Derby fans I pull out of Burniston, and I'm surrounded by Derby fans, and they just look at me and go, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're horrible. I don't want to talk to you. Just go away. But no, it's dreamland, and we haven't seen this for such a long time.
No.
And it gives a euphoric feeling to everything. It's just so good. I'd love it to stay where I'd love to finish 3rd, and it was so good to go to the Derby fans and go, where are you? I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
But Lee, if for whatever reason a Man City or Newcastle, takes that 3rd spot, we've just got to, remember we've had a great season. So I think wherever we finish,
definitely. Good grief! Yeah, I mean, I mean, if we drop down to the lower parts of the European football, it's still been a dream season.
We'll take that, won't we? We'll take that.
Oh yeah. Oh, every day and twice on a Sunday, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. No, it's really, really good. Unfortunately, I can't go this Saturday. It's grandson duties, so this week I can't go. Yeah, duty calls. Yeah, the Tasmanian Devils calling. So it's I can't go. Unfortunately, I took a bit of a City game now because obviously working away all week. I can't get to the Arsenal game. We did get managed to the Liverpool game. That was good. That was
a special night, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I like them games. They're good. It's but yeah, I've got to wait now for the City game. But unfortunately, grandson calls, so it's him. But I'll get him there one day. As soon as he's old enough, he's there. He'll have his little shirt on. He'll be there.
I'm still backing us to finish 5th, by the way. Newcastle 3rd.
Oh, Matt.
City 4th, us 5th. Chelsea 6th. That's how I'm feeling right now. Right.
Great shout.
I hope so. I can see Sharmake and Alan in the queue there. So,
Yeah, leave you to it.
We shall
Thanks
get
very
to
much
them.
indeed.
No worries, Lee. Thanks very much,
Safe
mate. Good to
travels,
see you.
Lee.
Thank you. See you later. Thanks, guys.
See you
Bye-bye
later.
now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Just before we get to Sharmake next, then Alan, before we finish in about 10 minutes, I promised Lewis I'd do this. Lewis McGugan, obviously. He he runs Eastwood's Academy. So they are holding trials. If you're currently in year 11, or, your son, your grandson, your mate, your cousin, anyone like that who's in year 11, they want to stay in football but combine it with education, then you can go to the trials for Eastwood Academy Tuesday the 18th of Feb, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and Friday the 21st of Feb, 12 p.m. till 3 p.m. So that's Tuesday the 18th of Feb, 12 p.m. 3 p.m. and the same times again on Friday the 21st of February. If you're interested, just to register your interest, email lewis.mcgugan@eastwoodcfc.co.uk. I'll put the link in the description after we do this, but I promised Lewis I'd do that. Lewis will be with us, by the way, on Monday throughout the evening for transfer deadline day. So we'll have some good chat around that. Right, we've got 10 minutes to go. Sharmake, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, feels about right.
Yeah.
What do you want to say this evening?
I don't want to say too much, and I don't want also to talk about the loss against Bournemouth, as it hurts me a lot. You know what? But what I can say is that it wasn't a humbling defeat, as we have not lost to a weaker team, or our confidence have not been plummeted, but it was a crashing defeat, and we need to move forward. And in the forthcoming games, starting against Brighton, we have to start winning games. We have to rediscover our form. So that's what I was say about the Bournemouth game. It hurt me a lot. You know, I was watching with a friend of mine the game at the weekend, and then when Bournemouth put 5 stars, and then he was joking. He was making jokes about me and saying like, well, "Look at Forest, they will go back, and then they will drop down." And then I say like they will drop down like a tad. I don't know, but yeah, I'm confident. Even after such a massive defeat, I'm confident that the team will get back to the form it was riding so high. So yeah.
Are you making for the Brighton team? Are you making 2 changes, 3 changes, 4 changes, no changes? How would you like to see us line up?
You know what? There was a debate of the central midfielders or the defensive midfielders that Nuno selected during the Bournemouth game regarding, in this case, Yates and Dominguez. But what I would like to see is that, given that Callum Hudson-Odoi is slightly out for this game, I don't know, maybe if he will come back, but I would like to see the team Nuno is usually used to pick, that 4-2-3-1 system. Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he's back, I want him to see him on the left wing, as Jota Silva is not enough. He doesn't have enough attacking threat. He's somehow helping defensively Al Aina, and he's making some needless challenges sometimes. So if Callum Hudson-Odoi is available, I want to see him the starting 11, and between Dominguez and Ryan Yates, I'll probably go with Ryan Yates for this game because of our physicality. Palaiba, I think, will be dominating in the central part of the pitch during that game. So as he's physical, he likes to run with the ball, he likes tackles. So I think Yates' qualities will match Palaiba's qualities. I think that much. So I'm certainly going with that usual lineup that Nuno usually I used to pick. So that's the lineup I will go.
You're an optimistic fan, I can tell. Just quickly before we let you go and get to Alan, where do you think we'll finish as we sit here now on the back of that heavy defeat?
You know what? My optimism and my ambition before the Liverpool game was we are in a title race. We are chasing this title. But after that defeat, you still feel like my confidence have not plummeted. My ambitions, my target have not plummeted. We are still in this race. That's what all I can say. I think at top 3rd place or 4th place, a top 4 finish in the Premier League will be an outstanding season, given that it was out of expectation. And then, so maybe I can see a top 4 finish. And I was doing some calculations about the points we can rack up now and until the end of the season. And I struggle to see a team that can defeat us, maybe at home or away, except Man City. So I don't know, but I was making calculation that between now and the end of the season, there's a possibility that we can lose one game, if not two, and we can draw two, if not three. So we can get to 77, 80, maybe 81
Wow.
points. So I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
That was the sort of calculation I was making. You know what? I was basing on the form this team was riding before this crushing defeat against Bournemouth, and then you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I think a top four finish is still a massive reality, and the
Hopefully
loss,
so.
yeah,
Hopefully so.
the loss against Bournemouth was a reality check. We have to learn lessons from it. I don't think it will let us give up. We are still in the chase. We are still in the chase for top four, and some few additions, a quality striker additions at the top of the pitch that can really help us. Maybe if we get Cunha alone, if we just get Cunha alone this transfer window, I'll be massively happy with it. I'll be happy with it. As he's a versatile player, he can play a lot of position. But if you can get a striker, maybe Wissa or I don't know, but he uses and a winger, then that will be a marvelous job. But there's a balancing act indeed in this window whereby the recruitment team, they have to balance the momentum this team is on, and also the disruption that a transfer can bring to the squad. So I don't know, but it will be a good season. It was out of expectation, but I'm optimistic fan, as you know, Matt. So I don't know.
You are.
I'm
Right,
still
Charmaine, I'm
battling.
going to have to let you go because I want to get to Alan and I really have to get my daughter. I can probably do about 5 more minutes or 6 more minutes. So, Charmaine, lovely to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good.
Thanks,
Good to see you.
Shamake.
Good to have
Thank
you with
you.
us. Good to have you with us. Right,
Okay.
I shall let Charmaine go. Alan's been extraordinarily patient. You've got me on two screens, Alan.
Two screens? No.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got a bit of an echo, so I'll just throw it to you. What do you want to say?
Well, I was at the Tottenham game on Boxing Day, and I just wanted to share with you my journey as a Forest fan, because this will be a call like none other of the calls you've had this evening. My journey as a Forest fan was very unique, and I was itching to share it with anyone there at the City ground near to me who was prepared to listen, but I didn't get the right vibes to talk to anyone. So I thought, okay, the next time Matt and Emily hold a phone in, let me share my story with a wider audience.
Please do. You don't have to cram it into about 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, at least you're not going to grill me with any technicals about who should we add to the team and where are we going to finish. Just listen to my story. Hear me out. So it was Boxing Day. The fixture was Spurs. 60 years earlier, I attended my first football match. It was at White Hart Lane, Spurs at home to Nottingham Forest. I was younger than Archie was, one of your previous callers. It was the only game my father took me to. He was, I'm phoning from North London, by the way. North London, you think of Spurs and you think of Arsenal. My father was a mad, keen Spurs fan. And he wanted me, I'm sure, to be a Spurs fan. And half of me is. Half of me is. But guess who the other half of me supports? Well, I hope it's Forest. Well, of course it's Forest. So on that day, 60 years previous, Spurs ended up winning 4-0. And it deeply offended my 7-year-old sense of fairness. Why didn't Spurs let Forest score any goals? So I left the ground. I'm sure this wasn't my dad's intention, feeling very sorry for Nottingham Forest. And I didn't actually take any interest in football until about 5, 6, 7 years later, by which time Nottingham Forest were bottom of the old First Division and heading for relegation. And I thought, this isn't a good look. I'd better stick with Spurs. But my goodness, what a roller coaster the 1970s was. And by the end of the 1970s, I got to the position where I was now. Part of me supporting Spurs, part of me supporting Forest. Since then, I worked out which parts of me Spurs haven't done very much under the Daniel Levy era in the last 24 odd years. Spurs in my head, but Forest in my heart. I mean, what a contrast between the owners, Daniel Levy, tight with the purse strings, and Mr. Marinakis. His ambition for Forest, the sky is the limit. And look at the relative positions of the teams in the table at the moment. Forest are where a lot of people would have expected Spurs to be, and vice versa. Spurs 8 points above the drop zone. Now, if at the start of the season, you'd have said to me, or I'd have said to you, Forest will find themselves with an 8-point cushion above the drop zone at the end of January. A lot of people would have settled for that. A lot of people would have said that's solid progress. We're not going to be involved in the relegation ball, right or wrong? Right or wrong? Yeah, absolutely. It's been an unbelievable season, a fairy tale season. I know my time is limited, so I just end with this observation. I really hope we end up not far from where we are now, third or thereabouts. I think a title challenge is probably beyond us, especially after the last result. Let's see what the next few challenging fixtures throw up.
True.
Beyond this season, I mean, a lot of people have said we have done a Leicester. They've drawn parallels between this season for us and the Championship season for Leicester 10 odd years ago, or whenever it was. But look what happened to Leicester after that. I think the challenge going forward over the next few seasons is to maintain this momentum, to maintain this level, to be one of the top teams in the Premier League consistently, like we were under Brian Clough. And believe me, with Mr. Marinakis and his ambitions at the helm, I think we have a lot of cause for hope and optimism.
Hopefully so. I've just, Alan, I've muted you, but not rude, because I can hear myself talk if I don't mute you. Right. Thank you very much for your call, Alan. I'll mute you again. I'm going to let you go because I've really got to get my daughter, but it's been great to hear from you, and it was a lovely, wonderful call to end on. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Right. Matt McPherson of Forest All Over, do check it out. He's actually back in the country for about 5 minutes. So if you see him or Chris Elmer at the game, do say hello. Thank you very much for the £5. There's no spirit. Yes, indeed. I'd love to see him get, if he plays the Exeter, then brilliant. Emily, any really quick final thoughts? You've been very patient this evening, Emily, as well. So anything you want to add before we go?
No, I love doing the phone-ins, some fantastic calls, and what a great call to end on as well. And yeah, let's just keep going. We're doing brilliantly. This is a season that hopefully is sustainable for Forest in the medium to long term, actually. So just keep the faith. We're okay. We're doing really well. Don't be too down. Don't be too disheartened. We're all on Saturday. Go and get your daughter.
My wife isn't here, Bruce. So that's why I've muted my mic twice and carried Thomas' shoes as loud as I can to tell my son we're getting his sister in about 3 seconds after this ends. Emily, you've been wonderful. Everyone who's called in has been wonderful. Very much appreciate it. I will do this next time with at least 10 minutes more because we had loads of callers there and I shortchanged a few of them. So apologies for that. We're back tomorrow with Paul Taylor and maybe one other guest. So we'll do some transfer chat. Thursday match preview with Greg, Pete, and maybe another. And then we'll build up fully to the Bournemouth Brighton game. I'm really blowing this outro. I'm conscious of time. Right. Thanks very much, everyone. Good to have you with us. Enjoy your evening. If we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.